Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Zebec. Now, there's a little bit of new news, but this video will be mainly dedicated to this, right? The four acquisitions, all running on Zebec Rails. Before we dive into it, we will talk about this very quickly, and then we will be talking about the main subject. We can see, join us on our next spaces this Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern with Privy.io and Hypernative Labs. We'll be diving into our new partnership with Privy, how the wallet integration works, and how Hypernative powers real-time wallet screening and AML. Speakers will be Simon, the CEO of Zebec, Cameron, the head of FinTech Privy, and Alex, the VP Hypernative. So very, very big conference. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of information from this. It's going to be December 12th at 9 a.m. Listen, the other day we covered pretty much how Zebec, right? Four acquisitions, all running on Zebec Rails, Paybridge, SPS, GateNux, and Science Card strengthen Zebec's vision of an all-in-one payments ecosystem, combining Web3 settlement rails with proven TradeFi infrastructure. We are building a unified ecosystem around real-time finance by bringing the best of TradeFi onto our architecture, from payroll to compliance to global education. It's happening on Zebec, right? We read this before in the last video, but I really wanted to break it down of why this means so much to Zebec, why this is actually very, very impactful, why this news is going to change and benefit Zebec massively, right? And when I mean massive, I mean massive. So we got our beloved one and only Chat GPT to pretty much help us out, right? To put it into very simple terms, because that's what we do nowadays, right? It's just very simple. Why do it yourself? Why take 2 hours to write this when you can have Chat do it in 1 minute and provide you the exact same information, if not even better? So right, I had a conversation with it before, and I pretty much wrote, can you write in detail why this update is important? And I wanted to make sure it is in simple terms so everyone can understand. Absolutely. Here's a clear, detailed investor level breakdown of why the Zebec update is important without fluff or hype nonsense, right? You always have to add that aspect because, we're not trying to just hype people for no reason. We're trying to provide real information, real news, and not over exaggerate with certain topics. Why Zebec acquiring four companies is a major power move. This is not normal for crypto projects. Most crypto projects build one product, hope for adoption, then wait for price speculation. Zebec is doing the opposite. They are buying real time operating companies that already move money, process payments, handle compliance, serve real users. That instantly separates Zebec from 90% plus of crypto projects that have no real world infrastructure. Each acquisition solves a critical weakness in crypto. Crypto has had, crypto has always had four massive problems. Right here are the crypto problems, right? No easy bridge to banks. That's Paybridge, right? That is a Zebec solution. Payroll is risky and slow. SPS. Governments require KYC, GateNux, and no mainstream daily spending. Science Card. Okay. Instead of partnering loosely, Zebec owns the infrastructure, controls the tech, controls the data, controls the revenue. This is vertical integration, the same model used by Apple, Amazon, Visa, PayPal. Right? We can see. So very, very nice, right? We're only completed the second point out of, I think there's 7 here. And we can see, right? The first two are absolutely just fire, right? They explain why this is so huge. But let's continue with this. All running on Zebec Rails equals network locked in. This line is extremely important. All running on Zebec Rails. That means every payroll transaction, every card swipe, every bank bridge transfer, every compliance verification, all of it routes through Zebec's blockchain infrastructure. This creates constant on chain activity, enterprise level transaction demand, long term ecosystem lock in, reoccurring revenue instead of hype based pumps. This is how real financial empires are built. And by the way, people, remember, this is just one update that happened the other day. This is not what one thing we achieved in half a year or in a year. This is one update one day after this Stripe announcement, right? Again, I'm telling you, the resume for Zebec is extremely stacked. We can see this pushes Zebec into government and enterprise territory with Gatenux equals compliance, payroll infrastructure, bank bridges, global card systems. Zebec is now structurally built to work with governments, corporations, universities, global employers, regulated financial institutions. This is exactly the same path XRP and XLM took, except Zebec is doing it through ownership instead of just partnerships. That gives them more control, more leverage, more profit capture, more long term security. This transforms Zebec from token to financial operating system. Before Zebec equals payment token, now Zebec equals global settlement engine for payroll, banking, education, and compliance. Okay. I wouldn't say before it was just a payment token, right? It was definitely more than that, but you get it. The point is that it did pack a punch heavily with this new update. That changes how valuation works entirely. It's no longer how speculative is this token, it becomes how much financial volume flows through this network every day. That's how Visa is valued, Stripe is valued, PayPal is valued. Price impact comes from usage, not hype. This update matters not because of hype, but because it creates forced token demand through payroll settlements, card spending, business treasury movement, compliance verification flows, cross border transfers. If adoption grows, transaction volume grows, not just social media attention. This is different between meme pump cycles and infrastructure driven growth. And by the way, some of these comparisons with ChatGPT, there are iffy because we're nowhere, even without this, right? Even without this, we're nowhere near getting compared to a meme coin, right? Anyone that has been hating on this crypto, they either just do it because they just love baiting people, or they're just delusional, right? There's no other two, right? There's no other two because they're literally wrong about the labels that they throw on Zebec. Right. And like I said, even without this, our resume is still like a 15 out of 10 for a crypto. And I'm so surprised people are just sleeping on this project. This is a long term bullish signal, not a short term pump trigger. Important truth, this type of update usually does not cause immediate price explosions. In fact, I've been saying this for months that just because something great comes out, that doesn't mean automatic pump. It just means how well we're going to be doing in the future. Instead, it signals multi year growth, institutional scaling, regulatory alignment, enterprise adoption ramps. These are the exact ingredients that created XRP's original massive run, PayPal's dominance, Visa's global control. Final summary investor reality check. This update is important because Zebec is no longer just building software, it is buying real financial infrastructure. It now controls bank bridges, payroll, compliance, and education spending. All activity is locked in Zebec rails. This positions Zebec for enterprise adoption, regulatory partnerships, government level finance usage, long term sustainable demand. This is how real financial networks are built, not how gambling tokens are pumped. And then, yeah, it says if you want, I could do some thumbnail, title, whatever. But no, you know, and that's what I'm saying, people. That's what I'm saying. Um, so yeah, this broke it down very, very nicely. Obviously, the article we read yesterday also broke it down very nicely as well. But this is just more in simple terms. This is also more putting the puzzle pieces together so we could just see it in front of our eyes. So yeah, Zbec continues to dominate. Zbec is, being compared to taking the same steps as, Visa, PayPal, XRP, titans, literal titans of the finance world. So, the same. This is the vertical integration, the same model used by Apple, Amazon, Visa, PayPal. I mean, guys, come on, like it's right in front of our faces. Obviously, everyone always has a choice to either follow the evidence, follow the data, follow the institutions, or they could just turn a blind eye and just do their own thing. At the end of the day, you have to decide for yourself what you want to do. And that is it. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.